If you're 45 or older, talk to your doctor, schedule colonoscopy. We are going to do a little work on the slide live. Let's see. Yeah, we better do the ball grab. Hope everybody's doing well. Merry Christmas. Looks like it's all right. There we go. We've been dealing with some warm temperatures around here. And basically every day I'm losing an inch or so of base snowpack. We did have a good ice layer on, and then some of that melted, and then it froze real hard again. So the base is good and hard. But we haven't had any new snow. So I'm kind of working with some older, kind of more icy chunks of snow rather than really fluffy stuff. So what's going on? UK, how's it going, brother? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping. I'm going to be working on the slide today. I've been working on it for part of the morning already, but I just want to see what this looks like on this other channel here, or on this other TV. Just kind of like a last minute decision to do this. I did tell a few people that I would be showing it on YouTube, so I figured I better show it on YouTube. Cheers. Sorry, Blind Neil, my bong's getting dirty again. The water is clean. Oh, I think the microphone is on. Looks like the camera is on. I know you are, brother. You're a good man. I always try to do too. Whether I'm on the chat or not is a different story. Sometimes I'm quite busy, or at least I try to be quite busy most of the time. Bongs up, everybody. Cheers. Cheers. And I also said I'd show this too to a couple of people. That's pretty cool. I like that bowl. It's a very big one. It was $14.99, I think, American. Thanks, man. I thought so. They had like 4 or 5 different ones, and I went with this one because I like the way the blue kind of shimmers in there. Cheers. I don't know if all of them. Singros, what's up? Aussie Chick, what's going on? Good to see you guys. Appreciate it. This has like a glass X or crosshairs inside here to keep it from dropping through. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I don't know. Oh, hey, thanks. Yeah, it's a dirty old Gophers hat, but keeps my head warm and some of the sun out of my eyes. I'm gonna get Aussie Chick wrenched up here. Everybody, check out everybody's channels. Try and support the community. My community is a little smaller than a lot of the other people's, but I like that it's easier for me to remember everybody. But I'm always game for new ones. Let me show you guys this couple of things here. This is some of the stuff I'm going to be feeding to the plants this year. This is a mushroom, right? And then I took some willow branches and stuck those in a fire. Basically, we're just going to run through it quick and made biochar, activated charcoal with it. And we're going to make this into biochar this year. And this is where I'm going to get some of my frass this year. Anybody recognize that? UK, you might know what those are. You've seen me with these before on some of my shows. Those are bees. Those are dead bees. They're winter kill off, winter die off, or whatever. I'm going to be cooking those. Basically, this pan is going to go on top of my barrel stove, and this is going to cook until they're really good and dried out. And then I'm going to grind those up in a grinder, and that's where we're going to get our frass. But it also, if you think about this, bees are probably one of the perfect ones because they actually process and use the stuff that they're getting out of the plants that we're actually protecting and we're using, or actually I'm using for food to feed these things. So the enzymes and stuff in their stomachs are going to help break down the material we're feeding them. So I'm pretty lucky being a beekeeper, and I would recommend it to do anybody that, you know, isn't prevented by their local laws and regulations to keep bees. If they're not allergic, if their neighbors aren't allergic, you want to check out all that stuff. But just because, to me, that natural sugar that these guys are taking out of those plants, I'm using the honey, which is that material, and I'm feeding it right back to my plants. So I've had tremendous, tremendous luck for no money. This stuff doesn't cost me anything. Time, a little bit of time. And then I'm sharing that time with you guys. So all I'm doing is freaking playing, man. Right on, right on. Let's hit it. Slide time. Who's all here? I know UK was here, Aussie chick. I think I got you moderated. Or, yeah. I'm not the greatest with this computer crap, but hope everybody's doing well. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. See if this is working here. Boom. Crimson, how you doing, man? How you doing? Thanks for stopping. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to everybody. Come on. You can see the weather. If any of you guys have been checking out any of these videos, the weather has substantially changed around here. You can actually walk around without breaking your neck on ice. Oop, we got a squirrel in the tree over there. Anyways, this thing has melted twice on me already, but I make a bunch of these blocks and can replace them pretty well as long as I have one night between the time it melts and now. Anyways, now I got a phone call, of course. Give me a second. I don't know if I can get to it. Anyways, I'm going to plug you guys in probably here, maybe. Yes? Okay. Bye. All right. You can see all the bare ground over here. I've been mining snow from over there. I snowblowed everything I could to build this up to where we're at now. So I just thought, you know, I did tell a few people that I'd be showing them. And then I thought, well, why not just stream what I'm doing here? We will see. I mean, you can see it's quite deep. This wasn't deposited here. I deposited all this here. I don't know if the sun's going to cooperate with us or not. That don't look too bad there, right? So what we're looking at here right now, the base of all this is pretty solid, either compact snow that melted somewhat the last few days and then refroze last night. We're getting, you know, mid 30s today, so we're going to be flirting with that melting point, you know, but the sun is deteriorating this thing more than the temperature is right now. So everything facing the south has to be shored up. So those walls there on the ramp, am I getting the ramp there? Yeah. The walls on the ramp have to be shored up from the outside to prevent the inside, which is the most important part structurally for keeping them sides on. We don't want anybody going off. I'm going to build up that wall. You can see on that far side there, there's a couple pieces missing. I just put in that fresh stuff there, the sides, yesterday, and I ran out of blocks, so I had to make some more. The way I make those blocks is I'll take the light fluffy snow, pile it up, and then pack it down in the evening or afternoon or whatever. But by the next day, it's frozen again overnight, so you can cut those blocks into like bricks. If you form them right, then you can stack them, and basically you're using snow as like basically bricks or cement blocks or whatever. This method for me, as long as you have the time, works better than the snow block maker because you need the perfect snow for those makers. If you have the time, just, you know, do it like an assembly line. Make your snow blocks, pile up your snow, make your snow blocks, transport them, then stack them up. So last night I transported probably 15 sleds full of fluffy snow onto the track, packed it down, let it freeze overnight. Now today I've been filling in the cracks with fresh snow and leveling it off. It's easier to level it off with the fresher snow because you can move it around. If you pack that down then with my shovel, you'll see all this. I'm going to be doing all of it, but spending more time talking than anything else. I don't even know who's here. And it ain't really cold, but it's got a damn breeze. That ain't nice. Crimson, let's see. What? I know you guys are just probably talking between each other, and I can't see a dang thing hardly out here. Who doesn't have a wrench? Pretty ripped too, so it's hard. My eyes don't like to focus. I suppose I could turn up the screen. We're gonna mod you up anyways, whoever you are, mystery person. Right on, right on. Not that you're a mystery person, I just can't see out here. Oh, Swarnda, how's it going? Oh, is that? Oh, I'm gonna have to get into the. Is that home grows? Just too bright out there, I can't see. Boop boop, Crimson. Swarnda. Oh, one more quarter. Good to see ya. Let's see, we'll get you wrenched up too. Happy holidays, everybody. I hope everybody's wishes come true, being here, just being here, mine certainly has. Oh, you're already moderated. All right. That must have been the one I moderated when I couldn't see. Right on. Yeah, I'm just gonna plug this in then. And whoever wants to watch can watch. If I can find my board. All right, now get this. My sister lives out in North Dakota, and she's doing quite well. She's got a couple of adopted boys and one son of her own. These brats just got back from Dubai. Not that I ever want to freaking go there myself. I think it's a travesty, probably what's going on there, and we're not going to get any politics. I just don't think they're going to be doing well in, I don't know how many years, but whatever. These guys were skiing down freaking sand dunes freaking 3 weeks ago. They had to spend 19 hours on a plane one way. Or maybe not 19 hours on a plane, but 19-hour trip. Or maybe it was 23, something like that. So only one of them has even seen the slide because we haven't had the weather for it. So I've been trying to do whatever the hell I can do to make sure this happens. And my sister called yesterday and said, we're packing clothes. Do we need to bring clothes for the slide? And I'm like, bring it. Right now, I've got 5 acres of snow. I don't care how much snow, how it melts. I'll have it set up. So we're going to show them what it's like to actually ski where it was meant to be, right? Or it's not ski, but we're going to be using these old-fashioned type sleds. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Hope everybody's well. Get one little... yeah, but anybody that's actually pondering doing what I'm doing with the worm castings, I'm not talking about this, but the growing, the way my stuff turned out this year, growing with mostly homemade nutrients and dry amendments and stuff like that, just it took some energy as far as time and figuring this stuff out and taking chances, and I've got a lot of knowledge from just growing in general. I've done it my whole life, not cannabis in general. Quite a few years doing that, but just cucumbers I started growing when I was 8 years old. So then I went to pumpkins. The quality and the taste, the genetics had a lot to do with it too, but just the outcome of the flower was so tremendous and tastes so freaking fantastic. I would recommend people investigate. I don't know if it's, I would call it natural farming basically, but it's the new generation of it. But be careful when you're doing the fermented plant juices and similar type things, because you're concentrating any pesticides and any herbicides and any, don't use any nightshades for this kind of stuff. That's all. You're creating poison then. Basically, you're concentrating nutrients and poisons. So don't use any grounds or stuff that were sprayed with stuff. But if you're beekeeping too, you don't want to do that anyway. So, all right. I have to go get my gloves. You'd mentioned the Gophers hat earlier, which brings up a shout out to the Mayo, not the Mayo. Well, shout out to the Mayo too. They're a huge, huge, huge benefit to Minnesota and the world. But the University of Minnesota Medical Center and Masonic Center are the only reasons I am here right now and able to even freaking walk. Late stage 3 colon cancer almost took my life 5 years ago. And after that, with all the wear and tear I put on my body, because this is what I do all the time, I needed both my hips replaced. So the last 2 years at Christmas time or between Christmas and New Year's, I've had, my right one was the first one I had replaced. And then last year, which is the following year, I had my left one replaced. And the only reason I'm able to do any of this is because of them. So thank you. Especially one, the doctor that gave me my colonoscopy, not to mention my normal medical doctor, which is Dr. Akintola. Dr. Apple, he's no longer with us. He actually, shortly after my procedure, he fell and hit his head and passed away just before Christmas, about 6 years ago. But then Dr. Wolfgang Gardner, he's the one that did my procedure on my colon cancer. And Dr. Troy Walter, he's the one that replaced my hips. Thank you. This is a grain shovel. Very important. This is one of the key aspects. An aluminum grain shovel. They make steel ones. Sure, they probably make plastic ones. Doing this, my shoulders are sore every day, but I couldn't imagine doing this with a steel one or a plastic one. So, boom. I'm gonna go get some of the snow blocks I made yesterday, and I'll show you. But you might be able to see me over there. There it is. Sorry about the shitty camera. One of these days I'll figure out. Actually, all my relatives are pretty technologically savvy. So I'm going to have them, one of them, all of them. Oops, better plug this in. Try and get me hooked up with that camera. So that's a 6K camera. So it should be good for another 2K, I was thinking. And then also, I wouldn't be able to do it without this sled here. This thing helps me size everything. You don't want it too wide because when they're going down on these little sleds here, you don't want them turning sideways or anything. But you don't want it too wide either, or too skinny either. They'll lose speed. Now you saw me go down that now in this one. This sets it up with a nice track. But right now that has got 0 ice on it. So it is not getting the speed up as you would once it's iced up. Tonight, I will ice it up or wet it down, and tomorrow it'll at least be fast, you know. Maybe dangerous, but it'll be fast. So I'm gonna go get some of the blocks, and we're gonna block up some of the wall. It's not getting as warm as I thought it was gonna be, which makes it a little tough to do the reinforcement of the walls because I'm dealing with light ice, frozen, crystally snow. Later on this afternoon, around 3 o'clock-ish, there's probably going to be enough heat from the sun to warm it up to where I can use it as like a spackle or, you know, a chink. Or, figures I harvested the ones that I thought I had, so I had to locate some more. Basically, you just gotta find snow that's been either drifted or packed on each other or packed on itself. Because when those snow crystals come together, they melt a little bit and then they freeze. So you can make big blocks that you then cut in chunks. And now I can stick into the sides, and then you pack the seams with snow. Whether it's melted or not, it doesn't matter much, because by the next morning it'll freeze again, and as long as it don't get really hit hard, it's pretty permanent until it melts, which we see a lot of that these days, melting. Anyhow, might as well load these up. I could also take them out of this embankment here too, but that's the part that's preventing the inner part of that wall from melting away to keep the people in the track when they're going down. Take another look, huh? I could use a break. The new hips and the rearrangement of everything didn't do shit for my cardio. Reasons for all the shit. I was a wrestler all the way through school, and then I did concrete work and roofing for a living for most of my life. Didn't get me nowhere. I spent it just as fast as freaking goddamn got it. I'll go a little slower. If I remember right, it's kind of blurry. Looks good on this picture, on this camera, or on this screen, I guess. You got a willow that ideally it'd be garbage free. There wouldn't be this wood. Anything that's a contaminant will draw the sun's rays, and you start seeing holes. I've been working on this part since yesterday afternoon. This was all finished. People, you saw me going down this. It just melted. Like those there. Those are the ones I'm replacing. These here, that one I haven't replaced yet. I haven't found the right one to fit the spot yet. That's kind of the way it goes. And this is where it's melting. So I'm gonna have to pack this all in. We've been putting this thing together for, on this property, 35 years. But all together, we've been doing slides for over 40 years. And I'm 53. Oh, shit, it's almost 45 years. Weather permitting, let me tell you how many times I've built this thing and had it all freaking melt. Like more than not. Tell you what, the last 3 years, out of the last 4 years, I built it 3 times. Because we had snow. And then the 2 weeks before Christmas, similar to this, only we're about a week and a half late because we're getting warm temperatures tomorrow. This shit's going to be melting for the next 2 days. And then surprisingly enough, it's going to get sub-zero again. We're going to get the worst, coldest temperatures that we've had and probably more snow. So it's important for me to have this done for when my relatives come to town and my aunt and uncle get here and their grandkids and kids and shit. Because it's an oddity for, you know, it's not an oddity to see this thing set up. It's an oddity to actually be able to go down it. But I will say the trajectory and stuff, minus I got to build up a little bit over here to direct you away from this clump of willow tree over here. I went directly for that the last couple of times. You can see my track right here. Vroom, went right towards it. You know, it kind of directs you. I don't mind if you go, back and forth. You can lean a little bit to one side, especially on these other sleds over here. If you just give it a lean here, if you hit a low spot here, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm kind of doing like the concrete finisher. I'm going to finish this off to where it'll direct you straight down. No matter when you hit that pitch at the bottom of the ground, if anything is just a little not level, it aggravates it more. It amplifies it, so it actually sends you further than what it seems like because you're hitting that different angle. As long as also when you're doing this, similar to doing a roof, when you're doing freaking when you're framing in a roof and doing the eyebrows or whatever the hell you call them things. I didn't do much framing, a little bit. I can build a house from the ground up. I've done every bit of work in this house since I've been old enough to do work on this house. Replaced the roof 2 times. I can tell you it's 112 bundles. It takes me freaking 14 to tear off the whole roof of the house, the new addition here, which is included in that 112 bundles, and this garage roof. Tear it off, tarp it, or black paper it, and then shingle it. Nowadays, I have a gun. Back in the day, I used to have to use a freaking hammer and nails, man. I can flip a nail around in my hand because I've done sheetrocking. All of it, I've dabbled in electricity just slightly. I wouldn't trust a whole lot to it. I can wire a furnace to the house. I'm not too good with the new technology with the digital crap. It controls too much. But as far as putting in a furnace, I can put in a furnace. I can solder shit. I do all the soldering in the house. Unfortunately, when they built this house, they built some of the pipes are a little bit crooked. So every time I have to dig into that shit, pisses me off because I got to mess with their fuck up. But short of freaking tearing everything out and starting over, which I'm not going to do, that's what I got to deal with. This is my folks' property. It's actually zoned industrial. So we're basically just, I wouldn't call it homesteading. Maybe I'm more homesteading than anything, but we're waiting for somebody to come in here. We've got some industrial shit going on 3 or 4 houses down and, whatever. We're right at the northern part of 35E and 35W, if you're familiar with that, in Minnesota. In the future, this area right here, they're already setting it up for the future to where semis are going to be coming in from Canada if we don't ruin that shit before then. But semis are going to be coming in from Canada, meeting a mile away from my fucking house. And these semis are going to be electric and they're going to be self-driving. There's already freaking 95 spots for trucks to park right now. So preliminarily, the trucks that are going to be self-driving are going to be in the rural areas from our area north. Okay, they're going to park at this freaking basically trucking freaking nightmare that we have to deal with right now. But anyways, they're going to park. They're going to drop the trailers there, pick up another trailer while they charge or whatever, and then head north with either an empty or a full, hopefully full one going back their direction, right? Back north. Then when the technological freaking dealing with freaking traffic and city shit and roadblocks and whatever, regular people are gonna come here to this spot, pick up those freaking trailers and ship them through, down either past the cities or even into the rest of the United States. Right here on this freaking property and the surrounding, 1,000 acres probably right here is going to be the hub of the future. And right now we're just waiting for somebody to come in and say, here's some cash. We want to take this property from you. We've got just over 10 acres. Half of it is water wetlands credit, and then our neighbors are all kind of on the same thing. We're all just kind of hanging out here until it happens. My dad was part of the founding fathers of the city of Columbus. Shoot, I don't even know how many years ago it was. Probably 15, 20 years ago, right around there. 15 years? No, yeah, it was 20 years ago, I'd say. Uh, we've got a Running Aces horse track and casino a mile and 8/10 north of my house. NASCAR was thinking about freaking putting in a racetrack out here. It wasn't a NASCAR sanctioned, cup race one, but it was one of their freaking, whatever. I don't know what happened with that, but this area right here is prime. So I've invested my later, you know, my younger years were shot. So this is kind of perfect to come in here and take care of this place while we just sit on it and wait. My folks are freaking almost going to be turning 80 here within the next 5 years. Uh, they've had their hips replaced. They've had all their issues. My dad damn near died from hip infection. Wasn't able to walk for a couple years. He's back to normal. So yeah, another shout out to the doctors, man. Anyways, yeah. So I'm gonna get back to putting in some wall here. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Who's here? I know UK is probably somewhere around. I still can't see shit. I should probably get glasses or some shit. Crimson's still here. What up? Let's see. Oh man, Crimson got the flu. I just went through that too. Unfortunately, it was during harvest season, man. That fucked my world up. I had a couple days of heat stroke, COVID, flu. Had to work 2 weeks for a freaking coworker while he went on a 2-week vacation that he didn't deserve because I don't know what he was getting a fucking vacation from. Didn't do a goddamn thing. So the sides are shored up. I might spend a little an hour later tonight kind of smoothing, where the hell's the camera, kind of smoothing the sides out here and packing those little cracks in. This is all gonna have to be wet down now. I might do this afternoon. I'm gonna go check the weather. We're gonna sit down and smoke one. But like right now, I couldn't go down it right now without doing damage to it. But it's pretty smooth. I mean, the laptop could go down it probably. Oh, wait. Probably not a good idea though. The laptop won't go down it. All right. Need something to freaking drink. Oh, there's something to drink. So we'll look from the top then. I'm gonna have to smooth this out. All right, so what I'm seeing right now is where you saw me at the last point there, right at the bottom. Just that little, where you can see that point of the shadow there, dark shadow. That's gonna have to go down a little bit, so I'm gonna pack that down because that's where I'm hitting, and it wants to send me over with that big slide, or with the big sled, right? With the smaller one, you can see my last track right up the middle there. So just a touch down here, and on this right hand side, I'm going to do a little bit up, pack a little bit of snow in there on the right hand side down past the bottom, because if you start getting going off to the right there, I don't want it to catch anything, the front end, and yank them over. Some of these kids are going to be, the youngest is only just starting to talk, so it's not uncommon. I was on snowmobiles when my grandpa sold Arctic Cat snowmobiles when I was just a baby. So actually I have my snowmobile suit, my first one. It's an Arctic Cat, fur hood, the Arctic Cat symbol here, and it would be from 1977. How long ago was that? Wow. Yeah, it's probably the smallest one they made back then. I couldn't see it make it smaller. It's pretty much in good condition. I've had my four brothers and my brother and three sisters all wore it, and then all my nieces and nephews down to my nephew Mason all wore it, and that would have been about 10 or 12 years ago, I suppose. Anyways, that's kind of how I stay in shape in the winter. I do all the gardening and the wood stuff and any of that kind of crap in the summer to stay in shape. A lot of it is tilling and getting up and going out there. My grow spot is 300 and some feet from the house, so every time I go out there, it's 300 feet walking with an arm load and 300 feet back usually with an arm load. Try not to leave this shit out there. What's up? We got a nice day going here today. I'm trying to take advantage of it. I want to get as much snow collected as possible, which I'm doing pretty good right now. Because it's melting And if I collect it now and get it in a pile, I'll have material to work with while these kids are trying to go down it. But it should be in a number one shape. Tomorrow, when the extended family gets here, and then Christmas Day, when it's just my folks and the family. All right, let's see. I thought I had one more quarter moderated. Oh, it is. Oh, there goes. Here's my niece. She's one of the last ones to go down this thing, other than myself. We also have a zip line. She's not a fan of the zip line. Anyways, she may have crashed into a tree about 20 years ago. Anyways, I thought she was sick. She took the day off work. It's not a big deal. She's going to college, doing amazing, and going to work when she's home. So I have no worries that she's not going to do well. Let's see here. There we are. All right. Well, I wish Crimson does a whole lot better these days. He's got the flu. Oh yeah, we already talked about that. That's because I'm down here now. Oh, so yeah, let's see. Swernda is saying what's up. What's up, Ray? Let's see. Yeah, you're working on product designs? I know. Who wants to friggin' get this dang? Who wants to just go sledding instead, man? Who wants to just go sledding? Anybody in the area want to go sledding this weekend? Head on over. You know where I'm at. No, I don't have any snowboard. We could. Theoretically, I'd have to move a branch though. I can barely get underneath that branch when I'm going down on a sled. No, but I mean, it would probably be fun because it's to where you can kind of ride it like a surfboard or something, even kind of going down. Yeah, I would love to go down it. Actually, I'd love to go up it on a snowmobile, but we got rid of our snowmobiles a long time ago. Lazy Clouds, cheers! What's up? UK is still here. We're getting ready to do a rip. Oh, Niplash is here. Let's get Niplash modded up. My my mouse pad or whatever you call this thing is pretty cold. So it wants to jump around like a mother. And not work. There we go. Moderator, standard, save. And right on. What up? That's got to be UK there. Oh, hey, wait a minute. It was your birthday, right? Yeah. Is today your birthday? Tomorrow's your birthday. No, yes, tomorrow's your birthday? Or is it Jesus' birthday tomorrow? Supposedly. Anyways, take a hit of this to get good and primed up. I've got some. This is the blueberry sprinkle. The outdoor blueberry sprinkle that you see sitting across from the cream cheese. This here, I think that could be. Let me look at it once. I'm pretty sure this is the That's got to be. This has got to be Purple Punch Lemon Drizzle. And that's bubblegum. Let's see. Okay. Give me a second. Oh, there it is. So, anybody got any votes? I would say the bubblegum is by far the strongest. That's the strongest smoke I've ever think I've smoked. I got some white rhino that somebody else, or white widow that somebody else grew. That's very fine too, but there's only a little bit of it, so I'm probably not going to smoke that. This here, so the bubblegum has kind of a bubblegummy hash flavor, like a fresh flower hash. This has a straight up flower rosin taste. And this one is kind of similar, but it has a black licorice type of terp. Anybody got any preferences? I've got probably the least amount of the bubblegum. It's the most fantastic. I'll get the most ripped. But it's also couch lock. I mean, I don't want to do much after that. I motivate myself anyways, but if anybody wants to take a vote, I'll give it a sec. What I'm going to do next is get out the newer bong. That's what I was looking for the water for. We're going to be breaking this out tomorrow for Christmas when the relatives get here. So I want to make sure I'm familiar with how it operates here because I don't want to be going in this with, being a novice. I noticed it's freaking left-handed, which sucks for me. I didn't notice that right away. Probably because I didn't have a lighter fucking sitting there. That's pretty close. All right. Niplash got moderated. Baines is here. Oh, geez. Okay, I'm trying to read here too, but the sun is so friggin' shitty around here. So I'm gonna just catch up with where UK was. Ha ha! He's not up too much. It's a good job. Don't care what people think about me. Well, I don't think anybody really should care too much about that. I mean, nobody else's opinion. I mean, boy, think about that. What does anybody else's freaking view on life freaking have to do with yours? Yeah, what did you say? Germ got you with these nuts? Ay, ay, ay. Children. I got to deal with kids for the next 2 days. Come on. Actually, the kids are pretty good because I really don't have to deal much with them because they usually are just sitting on their things doing this. Somebody, were you spying on Beans, UK? Thought I was spying on. Oh, I thought you were spying on us, Beans. Ah, as me and Wayne talk on the WhatsApp. See, I knew more about that stuff, but I kind of am glad I don't. I'm just trying to learn this stuff now. Swernda, what do you think? You're in Minnesota, right? What do you think of these temperatures we're having? It's definitely not easy to build this thing and keep it going. Is that camera all blurry? Or is it just my freaking eyesight? Probably my eyes. They're the next thing that are going to go. All right. So, I don't know. It was cheap and it was clean. Does it got a pot leaf on the bottom? I thought it had a pot leaf down there. Kind of looks like it. But yeah, I mean, wherever the hell that other bong went, I think it's in the cabinet. We're gonna do the bubble gum. Fuck it. All I got is little fucking larfy shit, but I saved this stuff for Christmas intentionally. And it's not larfy, it's small little nugs, actually. It's just fucking popcorn. Boy, but it smells good. That's probably the loudest. Hmm. I lost that plant this year, people, and I am so fucking bummed. Didn't know what I had. Did not expect it. I have had some experience growing, like I said, but it was always bag seeds. You get what you get. Um, Last year I did get some actual genetics. Not that I knew, if they're any good or not, but they were purchased. So, I had some hope that they're good. I think they came out of California. Um, and grew a fucking huge plant. And it actually tasted pretty damn good. I had really good luck with that. I was doing it syngenically. I had just started dabbling with the natural farming, or I don't even know if people consider if some of it Jadam. I'm not doing any labs. Um, Although I did do one that I sprayed for powdery mildew, and that seemed to work well for a while. I don't remember what I did last year. I think I was just doing compost teas last year for preventative, and that seemed to work too. Um, I may have used a little milk one time. Anyways, I was really pressed for time this year. I thought I'd have a little more time to document. I got the freaking cameras to do it. But my technological disadvantage and time constraints I wasn't able to fully fulfill every whim that I had. Which on YouTube, they come up with new shit so often on YouTube that you want to try it. Now, sometimes, and which more often than not, I guess, when I'm giving advice, I don't ask how these people are growing, because other than training that one plant that was in the tent last year, the blueberry sprinkle, I didn't grow that plant. That was my buddy's. That was my plant. My buddy grew it. I trained it. He flipped the switches. He said, "Okay, I'm scared, kind of, of this he had bud rot the year before on a plant that I gave him, and he didn't want to get it again. So he flipped it, and it, because of the way it was trained, and I didn't know this. I'm just freaking figuring this shit out myself. But at least the way I train, they don't stretch as much. They're focusing on every bud site or every top, and if everything's a top, instead of just sending all that energy to a few choice ones, it's sending it to all of them. So it's not shooting up these particular ones, it's shooting them all up. So instead of going whoop, it's going, oh, it's doing the heavy lifting instead of just doing reps, I guess. I don't know if that's the way I see it, I guess. And this is only the second year I've ever trained plants. The first year I trained them, I grew one 14 feet wide and 9 feet tall, two of them. And then last year we're 13 feet wide and 6 feet tall. So I could look at the top of all the buds, but I couldn't see the other side of the fucking plant. I had to go with the camera over here and then kind of go, oh, okay, you can see the whole thing now. This is the way I kind of liken it to. Instead of growing the big balls to where you have a backside then that doesn't get any freaking sun exposure, short of putting like a white board behind it to get some reflection, instead of growing the big round ball, I just grow the top of it. You know, so if you look at that picture of my biggest, the power plant or whatever, if you just take a section of the top, cut it off at half point and take that top, that's what I'm growing now, just by training this stuff out. Anyways, I know I'm wasting a lot of people's time here. I want to do a rip. This stuff is so fucking sticky. When I have the heat going on in here, it gets so much more sticky. I can't get it off my fingers into the bowl. I know it doesn't, like right now, it doesn't look all white or nothing, but oh crap, my lighter is going to be freaking cold. Hell yeah, it is. Anyways, we talked about the bees, so I'm going to be using those for insect frass, and then they're going to have some microbes in them. I don't think I'm going to be cooking them all. I'm going to keep some of them aside, and I'm just going to dry them. And then hopefully any of that stuff is still alive in them. I'm just thinking that's going to be another key aspect. I used them last year, but not they weren't targeting anything really. It was, I'm going to use this frass for, pest prevention. It's going to help them, react to trichomes or some shit, which it does. I'm sure valid. But this year I've got a big, last year I was using mosquitoes and a couple of bees. Now the mosquitoes work for the fungus gnats, but I'm outside and I'm not really too worried about fungus gnats. But with my pepper plant, that came in, and I am also keeping it dried back on the top, but I'm not seeing any fungus gnats. Now, goddamn aphids are another story. That fucker's got like 10 leaves left on it. I saw a couple of aphids right away, and I've not really dealt a lot with aphids. The last 2 years I have, I've used just spraying water on them and knocking them off until the ladybugs come in. Ladybugs out here, and I haven't seen a praying mantis yet, but stick bugs and lace wings, a bunch of other stuff. But like fucking week into having them, now I took them into the shower and sprayed them off. Didn't do a good enough job. A week later, they freaking exploded. And it was like I took Parmesan cheese and sprinkled it all over the top of that pepper plant. So, what the hell was it? Dr. Urs. I got some Dr. Urs and sprayed it down, and then sprayed it down with water again, and then I made a mix of uh, what is that? Organic soap shit, or whatever. You use a clear soap, and then some garlic powder and a quart of water. So you take I don't know if it was, I think it was a quarter teaspoon of soap, a tablespoon of garlic powder, and put that in a quart mason jar, and then spray that on them. Right now, I'm seeing if you now most of the leaves fell off because right away I got pissed and was like, I'm gonna freeze these fuckers, and took them out and put them on the deck, and it was colder than fuck out. I don't know if that probably didn't do a damn thing, but freaking hurt the plant, unfortunately. But a lot of leaves fell off. Some of them got a little frostbite. They're still on there. Uh, through everything, it's still live. The leaves that are on it look good and healthy. It's starting to get little nodes on it where they're going to start shooting out some more. But yeah, for whatever reason, the last 2 years, I've never had to deal with aphids. I've never seen one of them. And now all of a sudden it goes legal in Minnesota, and freaking everybody's got it, and they brought shit in. I know we had aphids, and maybe it was just the weather. The last 2 years also, we've had a lot of wet weather, and that's probably why. But cheers, people. Hope everybody's doing well. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Stuff's pretty damn smooth, too. Funny. Get that lucky. I tried time after time. It was so far into flower when I tried cloning it. I just didn't have any luck. I do have one more seed. Chances are, I know a buddy, I gave one to a buddy of mine too. So he's got one too. So we got two chances to get something close. Ask Crimson what chances are that we're gonna get out of fucking 5 beans. How many of them are gonna be two alike? Probably none of them. So chances are, or what are the chances are it's gonna get better? Probably not, in my view. It hit every fucking mark. Other than it's not real pest pest, resistant. There you go. It did get budworms. All I did for to prevent that on those were pick them off. So I go out there and find the infected area and freaking pick it off. Look for the freaking they're hemp borers or corn borers, or they're both the same thing. Pretty much, if you had a branch coming out of a stem or something like that, where that came out, right underneath it would be a little hole, and that's where the moth laid its egg, and that's where I don't know if they lay multiple ones in there or not. It sometimes it seemed like it, Maybe it was just really, you know, really voracious freaking caterpillar, but some spots it seemed like every fucking bud on that cola, and unfortunately it pretty much only, affected the colas. um but other than it was susceptible to them budworms, the buds were huge. I liked the nodal spacing. The leaf to fucking bud ratio was freaking, I mean, once you knocked off the fan leaves, I was taking like 3 snips. So you'd cut off one of them little freaking crow feet ones on each side, and then maybe run one across the top. And then it was trimmed because it was so frosty. I mean, I got the bag of trim here. I mean, a lot of that, I'm probably just going to go ahead and fucking end up possibly fucking rolling it up. I haven't tried it yet, but I mean, if I take some of that bottom shit, and there's still chunks in here too, but this is what I dry sifted already too, twice. No, once. I was thinking about doing it again. No, did I do it twice? Yeah, I did do it twice. I've added more to it though. Anyhow, that seemed to work good. I got a pretty good dang pull. The bowl, if you don't fill it full, filled my lungs up to capacity. Now, if it was a harsher smoke, that'd probably not be the case. This also, I had some that I had to harvest in warmer temperatures, and because I have to harvest and dry and all that shit outdoors, with no climate control, some of it fucking just fried to hell because I didn't realize we were gonna get some warmer weather, and we hit mid 80s. I think it was 86 or 87 degrees, and I was at work during it. It was pretty unexpected, actually, that hot. And the first stuff got fucking fried, but this stuff we hit the mark with. I was right on top of it, with the dry and cure, and really, it was smokable as soon as it was dry, which was really nice. You don't get that often. We got another one going here. Cheers, everybody. UK, thanks for hanging out. Beans, thanks for hanging out. Swerna, good to see you. Oh, that one. It's because I'm hitting a left-handed bowl right-handed. Burn my face otherwise. I'm not really a fan of it. Maybe I'll keep everybody from smoking my weed tomorrow. So far, everybody is. I know we're novice around here as far as home grows and anybody's experience, especially. Let me tell you what, a lot of people do say it's hard to get anybody to understand what you're talking about or even give a shit when you're growing. They don't want to know anything about it. They just want to smoke it. That's true. Now, I do work in a establishment where I see not always the same people, but a significant portion of them are the same people. But on a weekly basis, I'll see between 1,000 and 1,500 individuals and talk to 1,000, 1,500 individuals. And I'm not out there projecting so much to just random people. But anybody that I've seen for the last almost 12 years now, um, I'm friends with, and they know, any of them that give a shit, what I'm doing. Um, out of those people, probably 8, maybe, are interested enough in, and some of them were kind of shocked. They were like, "Well, yeah, we'll check it out." And then pretty soon I'm, telling them, "Hey, you got to watch out for this because this is happening here." And all of a sudden, the next people are coming back going, "Man, you were right. We got budworms. What do we do about it?" I'm like, "Hey, I know what I do about it. I go out there and freaking pick them off. I don't know what you guys are gonna do about it if you have the time." I made the time. It cost me though. Anyways, whew, that got me going, right? UK, what are you smoking on? Beans, what's going on? Let's see. Everybody got their wrenches. Yep. Cool. Shy, wait a minute. Is that Shy's garden there? What's up, Shy? No. Oh. I didn't even see that you were even on here until this one moment here. But if you don't want a wrench, you can give it back. You got one. Who's trimming? And Shy, if you're still there, let's see. You'd be a good one to ask. Let's see. Now, wasn't it you that was growing the White Widow, right? Now you're trimming the Skywalker. Does that look like some White Widow to you? At least what this is here. This guy has been keeping this freaking plant alive for the last 20 years. Now it's 21. Okay. I just recently ran into him. Now, it's not in the same ballpark as the bubble gum. Okay. The bubble gum is a substantially different story. But I'm going to grow this plant this year and I can't wait because this is the this is the taste I remember when freaking I first came across any green weed 20 some years ago. So I was pretty happy to come across this. And I've smoked quite a bit of it lately, and I love every bit of it. Miss K, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping. We're talking everything today. Got you modded up here with everybody else. I know everybody knows who Miss K is. Everybody here knows who everybody is actually right now, I believe. But yeah, so that's the white widow. And to me it has a kind of flower, but musty flower. So I haven't spoken with him about too much about how he grows. But I do want to eventually try and talk people in and do some interviews once I get my camera shits figured out. Right now, the Crorgan channel, which might end up staying now. Jesse, what's up, Jesse? How you doing, brother? Thanks for stopping. The Crow channel was just to learn about YouTube. Corrigan's my freaking name. My initials and my last name. My initials and my last name. So when I was getting help getting on YouTube, I didn't know how to do it. I got a laptop from my sister. She's like, well, if you want to save some pictures and stuff, she's like, here. I'm like, what? All right, well. So I started getting YouTube with the intention on then starting another channel with my bees in the garden and the other garden and making the freaking nutrients and stuff. Maybe walking out in the woods. Who knows, you know? Critters that are around here. Not in any intention to monetize this channel. My method of trainers, my gadget that I call it, is the main reason I'm here. Eventually, somebody will either say, hey, we want to freaking get in on this with you because we see the evidence. We know you can grow. We see the freaking plants are growing. You've got something that is doing this because I don't spend a lot of time on my plants. I don't have the time to do it. I've got a lot of shit going on. I'm also doing this in secret for the most part. Okay. So I can't spend a lot of time out in my grow. So if it takes me 20 minutes to freaking water, I've got like a half hour before freaking somebody's like, where's Chad around here? We're a 3-generation family. And we like to keep track of each other, you know? Not that I'm fucking fooling anybody. Let me say that, you know, but it's like, you know, keep me out of it type thing, you know? So I'm not freaking, it's not in the house. And it can't take away what from my responsibilities here because like I was explaining to you, everybody earlier, if you haven't caught on, this is a industrial / commercial property. On our front door is a freaking freeway frontage where 250,000 people pass out in front of my fucking front door every day. Eventually, this area is going to be built up in a hub for North America, and the layout has already been made out. The property in this area, the industrial park, now I can't even see shit out here because of the sun, but the industrial park of this area is going to be a shipping terminal basically, and we're just hanging out here until they decide to develop it. We've been on this property since 1984. Seen a lot. Droughts, not so much flooding so much, but high water table enough the last 2 years to just about knock out my vegetable garden. So we're just hanging out. I'm taking care of the folks. Hopefully one day they get to cash in before they cash in, and my dad can get his tractor. You know, that's what I'd like to see my dad get a freaking big ass tractor. My dad's grandpa had a big ass tractor. Let me tell you about my great grandpa's fucking tractor. It was a fucking steam tractor combine. And that motherfucker was the size of a fucking train fucking engine. And it was half the size of this garage. This garage is 43 feet long. I mean, it was half as wide, or it was as long as this garage, but only half as wide. Anyways, that thing was a behemoth. You could fit like 15 guys on it and have arm lengths between them to they couldn't touch each other between them. It was just huge. I wish we still had that thing. Oh, I don't know where it went. I've never seen it in person. I've seen pictures of it, but I don't know. Should we go look outside again? All my gloves are wet now, I think. Oh, yep. Oh, well, this might be a pair. No, no, no. Okay, that'll work. What's going on? Zolance. One of my faves. How you doing? Bongs up. Well, all right. You know what? I have no problem with that. We're going to go hit the bong, and then we're going to go show you the slide again. Right now, there won't be no more going down the slide today because it is freaking being formed, and the snow on it it's going to be hardening tonight. I'll show you. It's coming out again. It's not going to be probably as fast because I was not able to ice it up last night. I'll be able to ice it up tonight. And as long as we get cold enough time to freeze, cold enough temperatures to freeze, we'll be using it for the next 2 days for sure. And that'll make me happy. And then I do have a lot of friends in the area that have children. So I'm going to invite them all over and they can come. Anybody on here that is in the area or fucking wants to travel to the area, not doing nothing for Christmas, get in a car, get on a plane, get on a train, head to the northern spot of 35E, 35W in Minnesota. Give me a call. Hit me up on here. We'll fucking go down the slide. Oh, well, looky there. We'll be able to grow this thing regardless. We got a seed, I think. Hell yeah. Huh. Interesting. Oh, no. Boy, it ain't much of a seed. No, it ain't. Nah. Just a calyx that was really hard. Shit. I was like, this is his indoor. He's been growing that long. If it hermed after all these many years, holy shit. But, anyways, this stuff is probably about 16 to 18%. I love the flavor. It brings me back. The only other thing that would be better than this is a freaking skunk. And about 15 years ago, I had a skunk that I had. I didn't know what I didn't know what I was doing back then. I didn't even probably know anything about cloning, and I didn't save it. I wish I would have now for sure. If I would have then, and I would have saved this bubble gum, I'd have 2 amazing plants. But that would probably make me lazy. So whatever, we're just keep popping seeds once in a while. I do have friends that give me amazing genetics, and we do have a little bit of an amazing genetics bank. Out of the couple of different places, my one buddy does get some genetics, or has been working on his own kind of thing, genetics. But this other guy, really good buddy of mine, gives me a couple of plants every year that him and his crew work on, that are pretty much guaranteed. That's where the blueberry sprinkle came from this year, and that's where the ice cream cake came from last year. Both of those we have backed up, and probably, I don't know, 6 or 8 more good ones. I'm going to add another one to it this year, which will be the white rhino, or the white widow. I keep saying white rhino because that's what I grew last year, was a white rhino. Cheers, Z. Appreciate it stopping by. Jesse loves pumpkin pie. I do too, man. That's the only pie I really care for. Cheers. That pumpkin pie recipe I've been keeping the secret for the last like 18 years or so. So when I don't know, when you're looking for a pumpkin pie recipe, try that one out. Woo. It may be similar to something you've tried. I have tasted a couple that are similar. Like both my grandparents were similar, grandmothers were similar, but that's what I based my recipe off of. The taste and profile that I got from theirs. Only I don't do crust. See, that put me right in the right place. You got here just in time. That was the Gubble Bum, everybody. I named Gubble Bum. That is bag seed from my power plant from last year that got pollinated wildly, basically. Well, so I did pollinate with a male that I got from my one buddy. We didn't know what it was. The stem rub gave me a little bit of a skunky smell. The plant, when I was getting the skunky smell, the plant hadn't had any balls yet on it. It hadn't been showing it wasn't showing its sex. But it was sticky. I'm like, what the fuck? I wasn't even sure it was a male, right? I mean, yeah, I didn't know it was a male. It was a plant that I got from Buddy. When it did show its sex, I hit the ice cream cake with it. And then either some of that pollen floated over onto the power plant or it was wildly pollinated. Now, I've gotten skunk terps from wildly pollinated stuff from around here. That's where my skunk plant that I wish I would have saved came from. Oh, I should probably grab my battery or my charger. So I know that, you know, whatever is what I'm assuming is wild growing around here, because we have a lot of wilderness area around here. There's 1,000 acres probably of cattails and woods behind my house. In the dark, you can see a couple of people's lights from their homes through the wilderness in the sparse areas where the cattails are more predominant. But you cannot see any houses out here anywhere out wherever you're looking. All right, so let's start at the top, work our way over there. And I left my gloves. All right. So, where are we here? There we go. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's it. Looks smooth to you guys? It's pretty smooth. There's a couple of chunks there or whatever, but all right. So tonight I'm gonna wet down those seams and wet down this whole track. Work from the top down. Then I'll work from the bottom up and then the top down again. And by the second past going down, it should start running down. And that's when I know it's saturated enough to keep going. If you just saturate the top of that, when you start going down it, it's going to just break off. It's not going to seep into the inner layers. So if anybody's going to be doing this, you want to make sure you have a good thick layer of snow, and every time that you saturate it, you want to get good saturation. Don't just cover the top, because that's going to freeze, and then you're just going to get this like glass on top that's going to break, and then it's just going to fall apart. So, and every time you want to soak it down good wherever you're soaking it. All right. It's going to be difficult doing that today because it's already got a layer underneath there. So if I don't saturate it really well, it's going to blow out. Like you see on a freeway when it gets hot, it's going to freaking throw a chunk out, and then you're going to have a hole. It's going to be ice underneath it, but there's going to be a hole there. All those sides have been replaced last night and today. It's all melting out and rotting from this side. So ideally, and this is the sun that's doing this today, but ideally I'll get in here and pack in some snow, because if the sun stays out for 3 days, those walls are going to be gone again, no matter what the temperature is. Now my hands are freezing, so I know it's not real warm here, but that is the backyard. Like I said, that's the wilderness. The bees are out in that area, and then the cannabis is out in that area. I use pond water and make biochar. And this is where the biochar action starts. Inside that oven, I'll put a popcorn tin full of organic material, whether it's sticks or whatever, mushrooms, whatever. And cook that down to where there's just a carbon fiber inside, carbon mesh structure, and then quench it in snow or water. That quenching clears out all those pores, and then you fill all those pores in later with an inoculation, which I use compost teas usually, or you can use compost, you can use urine, or you can also use different kinds of like manure, or like cat, whatever you call the guanos. I'm going to be using rabbit and deer crap this year. Right there is a bunch of willow sticks. Underneath it is that metal tin. The rabbits will eat the bark off of the willow sticks, and you can see they're crapping on that tin. And all I got to do is remove the tin. They're crapping all over out here, but remove that tin and collect the crap, and then grind it up, stick it in a bucket with the activated charcoal, and soak that down in a little bit of water and let it sit for a couple of days. Or you just chuck the whole thing in a compost pile. Anything to get it activated. That stuff will suck up, since it's all I don't remember if it's negatively or positively charged, but it's just like a magnet. It'll suck up. It's the opposite of whatever you're using, right? So it'll suck it right up, and actually rob some nutrients from any of your stuff. So if you want to, I guess some people will use it for possibly if you overfeed, quite possibly, or if you threw the wrong stuff in. Maybe you've used something that was dirty, and you found out it's got some maybe heavy metals in it or something. It's possible that might suck it out, but I wouldn't I can guarantee it. It's quite possible. Activated charcoal will, uh, well, purifies air. That's where your air filters uh, from your tents are all from the charcoal filters. I guess I don't have to worry too much about it melting today. That's for damn sure. All right. We got gloves. I'm putting the hood up. We get a drink. I don't know if I have much to do left on there today or much I can do. Mm-hmm. You know, it's cold enough. I'll give it some water. So I'm going to grab my water. I guess I don't know if they're waterproof, but they're the Gore-Tex or whatever, neoprene. And we'll plug you guys in and I'll get the hose out and we'll hose it off, okay? Let's see. Oh, yeah, right on, Shy. Appreciate that, man. Oh, let's see. Yeah, my hands are cold. I'm thinking about just doing two things on Christmas Day. I'm gonna run a live out in the shed, and then well, so what I'll be doing is going between the shed and the slide. If the kids are out on the slide, I'll put it out there. If they're not, I'm going to have a little smoke spot set up in my bee shed. And if any of my relatives want to come out and have a smoke with anybody around the world, they can come and join anybody that's here. Not that anybody needs to show up. I don't expect to see anybody. But hey, if you happen to be freaking on YouTube at some point on Christmas, and I'm thinking Christmas Eve is probably the more likely day that anybody from my family will be out there. Because then my cousins will be here and whatever. Who knows? Maybe they won't even want to be seen on here. I don't know. I just don't know. I didn't even know I'd be doing this. Actually, when I was younger, we used to do the CB radio thing all the time. So we'd drive around town, about 20, 25 of us in the area had CBs in our vehicles, and we'd do all kinds of different shit. I don't know, meet up places and smoke one, or they had this, you could play hide and seek with a CB radio because the gauges, like probably on your mixers or whatever, they're the gauges. So when people would speak, by the amount of transmission you were receiving, the stronger hit you'd get, the closer you were. So you'd talk to them or hit them on the radio and ask them a question or whatever, and they'd have to respond to you, say, and then you'd be able to tell if you're going towards them or away from them, and then you'd adjust. If you were good enough, you could adjust, and sooner or later you'd find them. And for a while, nobody could find me, man. What I had was a base radio too. I had a home base, and that thing had a freaking like 25-foot tower antenna, and for like freaking at least 10 miles around, I could get skip, what they call it, from like Russia and shit like that. It's almost like ham radio. You wouldn't really be able to talk too much, but you could hear other conversations from a long distance away. So my transmission would come over so strong to anybody in this area around here with their home radio or with their vehicle radios, they'd think I was in their area. So they'd be like looking right behind them, basically thinking they found me. And I only live like a mile and a half out of town. So until I was caught cheating, I was fucking with everybody for a while, but it wasn't really cheating, if you ask me. Anyways, we got some, must be squirrel tracks. I know we got rabbit tracks around here too, but all right, we're gonna set this up and I'm gonna get the hose out. Enjoy. You see that thing? All right, like I said, 3 generations. Oh boy, I'm losing my gloves here. We gotta learn to be flexible. So somebody's doing laundry, and I hook up to the water faucet for the washing machine. So I'm not gonna wait around. I don't know how much they plan on doing today, whatever. Right now the timer says at least 30 minutes. I'm just gonna do it with the bucket. Right now for the ramp, that's probably gonna be more effective anyways, because I'll be able to saturate each individual layer right at that instant. So actually, it's a blessing in disguise, and I accept all blessings. Although it's like luck, you got to make your own luck. This thing wouldn't be here if I didn't start on it weeks ago when I saw the first 6 inches of snow. Well, it's not as warm as I thought it was going to be today, so that's cool. A lot of the times they put a lot of hype into some of this weather, and they'll pick the worst model. Glad everybody's having a good day today. Glad everybody decided to stop by. So actually that's working pretty good. The base is pretty much frozen underneath this layer of snow that I added last night, which is probably about 2.5, 3 inches thick. I let that base then freeze, the fresh layer I put on last night, and it did well, but it was slow. I kind of figured that would be the case. The snow is a lot slower than the ice is, and really, this has never been a snow slide. It's always been an ice slide. So that's when I knew that if we had any chance, I was going to keep going on it, and I'm glad I did. Even with the buckets here, adding in a little bucket full at a time, that actually is helping me form it a little better. I think if I had the hose out here, I'd be rushing it, and it would be freezing before I could actually form that new snow. So right now, that first 4 feet of the first top of that slide is formed, compact, saturated, and now freezing. So really, with this method right now, I could be sliding down it tonight probably. I don't know, we'll see. As long as it stays cold. I see the sun's trying to come out again. Anyways, I don't know what the temperature is here, but it's got to be below freezing yet. So that's 32 degrees here. I don't know if my fingers will work on the... Still have all the tips of my fingers in these gloves too. Hard to see. Ugh. We're not talking about UK eating a bunch of gummies again, are we? Yeah, UK and those hands. Everybody knows those hands, don't they? I'm just looking at a few comments back here. Just jumping around so much, my touchpad is frozen, I think. Or my fingers, one of the two. Oh, hey there, Moose. 10 of you guys. It's been floating between 10 and 15, 9. That's pretty cool. I'm so humbled by that. That's awesome. I appreciate everybody. I don't know why I didn't think of building the ice slide a little earlier. Maybe most of you know that that's basically all that stuff has been cut to fit for a there's material. If I would have had enough snow, because that the bigger slide relies on me having more snow, but that slide we do have the material and the setup for going up another 4 feet higher, so it would then be a 12-foot high ramp instead of 6 foot high. And it's really not quite 6 foot, it's right about there. But I'm far too old to lug that much snow up that ramp or up them stairs, or just to, yeah, by that time I'd have to lug it all the way up there. Some of it I can throw up there at 6 feet high, But I used to freaking drag that shit up 12 feet. Um, yeah, so I guess it'd be 10, whatever. I don't know. It was or between 10 and 12 feet high. Regardless, at the bottom of the slide, when we're done, if we make it all the way to the bottom of the slope of this yard, it'll be going from 12, it'll be a 12-foot slope, 12-foot drop. The backyard slopes off. That's why the slide works so well here. Over the next 300 feet or so, it slopes down like another 6 feet over that period. So it's a constant drop all the way to the backyard. And then you get to the cattails and it levels off. And then you get to the woods and then it goes up again a little bit. Then it goes and then it levels off. Then you get to the other side, there's a creek. Not a very big one. But it's part of the Rice Creek chain of lakes. So we've got a watershed back here. That's why this area was never zoned really for housing so much, because you can't really pack too many houses in here, but you can put a few businesses. Shout out to the Hall of Flame. Let me tell you, there ain't no flavor to this shit. It's all fucking hash flavor is what it is. Nobody added no fake terps to this stuff. It's fucking fire. And I don't do much of this other than stuff that I made. So shout out to these guys. Got a little shut off here, so it prevents, or it helps to fucking prevent plug when it gets plugged up from basically seepage or whatever. Pretty much makes a vacuum, keeps it from going into other parts. But none of these are any good for us or the environment either, so you gotta take what take what you can get when you can get it, I guess. You ain't gonna fucking live forever either, so just try and not pollute as much as you can. We're already polluting just by freaking being here. I hope everybody can still hear me. I don't have a microphone on today, which normally I don't, I guess. I'm going to be loading up the biochar factory again here probably a little later today. Caught a few mice. I'm going to throw them in there. We're going to biochar some mice. Other than that, I'm going to go grab a few more pails of water. Cheers. They sure are convenient. Thing's still working. It's gonna work without the friggin' plug-in here. It's still charging. That's good. What's going on? Ugh. Tell you, it is a workout. No matter how you look at it. So most of the ramp here is now iced up. Let's see. Can I see on here? Okay. Ooh. Some darker areas are the saturated, more saturated spots. That's going to give it a good base freeze all the way down to this point here. I'm going to let this freeze up, and once it's solid, and I can, and it might not be till tonight, but once I can throw water on top of the ramp itself and not have it seep in, not have it smear the snow out of the way, once it's solid, I'll be able to take buckets full and splash it on there. And as it works its way down, then, because now instead of seeping in, it's going to run down, it'll fill in that bottom part of the ramp where it is more snow than ice. Right here, I added a lot of snow because that spot there gets all the sunlight. This part here is protected a lot by a little bit of tree cover. It's just branches, but also house. This area here's got pine tree cover and stuff, but right here gets the most of the sunlight throughout the day, and most of that had melted away, so that's more fresh snow in here. But the rest of this is pretty good. This is all packed down here. A little bit of the top is fresh and a little bit crunchy, but the first couple of times you go down that'll even out and become more packed down in ice. But right now, I mean, I'm walking, and we'll go all the way to where I've made it so far. And see, once you pack down that trail, if you stay on that trail, each time you'll go a little further. So I made it out to here. Let's see. So we got just as far to go yet. And it's all sloped downhill, so eventually we will get there. You can tell. I mean, right now, my head level is halfway up the ramp. Once I'm out at the end of the property, or it's not the end of the property, but the end of the mowed grass out here before the cattails, basically the bottom of the ramp is where my head will be. So that's a ramp's worth of vertical space. Well, if I remember right, when I turn that sucker away, you can hardly hear me, so sorry. All right. We got some of the family going, well, pretty much everybody's going in different directions today. I'm staying here and working on the slide. The folks are going to, it's just a celebration for one of the matriarchs of the family. She'd be my grandmother's sister, who's got to be pushing 90 something now. They're just gonna go visit her for Christmas, and my sister and her daughter are going to a funeral or celebration of life. There goes some of our fine military. We get a lot of that around here for whatever reason. They must follow the freeway. So not only do we get 250,000 people going by here every day, we got military. Yeah, anyways, we're kind of in a bottleneck here between lakes. So it kind of funnels everybody right through here. We're also near the St. Croix River, which is the border of Wisconsin. Other than that, I'm going to break the hose out here in a little bit when everybody takes off. Sounds like the washing machine is done being used. I'm going to get something to drink and maybe we'll pull up a chair out in the shed and watch the snow freeze. That's always fun. That's about takes about the least amount of effort, doesn't it? In this temperature, I should check the temperature. I was going to do that before, wasn't I? Hey. Yeah, well, maybe now you can see because the sun's down a little bit further. If you look between those pole buildings over there, maybe that's a better look. That's Interstate 35 right over there. See, a FedEx truck just went by there. St. Paul and Minneapolis split off south of Minneapolis and St. Paul. One vector of the freeway goes to Minneapolis, one vector goes to the St. Paul. And then when they come out of there, they conjoin again right out in front of my house. So you got the main traffic headed north out of St. Paul, and you got the main traffic out of Minneapolis headed north, headed for Canada or northern Minnesota. And I can walk you over there. My Wi-Fi doesn't make it that far, but it almost makes that far. So this is prime freaking freeway frontage here. So, one day we will make my gadget. We might have to sell the farm to fucking do it, but we will make it. I guarantee it. I already make them by hand. God dang, I just wish you could see. Looks like all I'm seeing is glare out there. Sorry, folks. Anyways, drink. Oh, here's some of we feed the deer mild pumpkins. Oh, maybe you can see that. Let's see. No. Is that it over here? Yeah. That orange there is one of my pumpkins. What do we got? Dragon here? Whoa, what's going on? That's what I call the rabbit turds out in my back. I call them free credits. That's what I feed my plants sometimes. Anyways. Oh, yikes. All right. I'm going to go holler at these guys and tell them I know they're leaving. They think I forget stuff once in a while. Like the oven on and fucking to wake up once in a while. I get up freaking way too early. Way too early. Anyways. I know what we'll do. Let the dog entertain it. He also likes this too. Duck. He might not have been out for long. You get a lot of critters in the area lately. No, here, give me that thing. Here, give me. Cheers. Another one of my inventions. Be nice. So I train the plants. I let them train themselves. Kind of. He's not even gotten crazy yet. He gets crazy on that thing. He'll friggin' jump up where it looks like he's gonna do a backflip. He'll come running from somewhere and do a big swing on it. He'll probably come running back on it now. He had to go poop. Ah, what's everybody doing? How's it going? Hope everybody's doing well. Got something to smoke on. Taking the easy route, the convenient route right now. That is a 18-month old Man, maybe 20-month-old golden doodle with a fucking chip on his shoulder. Barks at everything. Just about. Anybody coming in the house, you can guarantee he's going to bark at it, whether it's me, you, mom. He barks at himself half time. Doug! There was a deer hit by a car and he flopped around in the ditch for a friggin' 10 minutes while he died. And he's probably down there licking the blood up. Hey! Yeah, sure. Bonehead. Look at his exercise, that's for sure. Strong as fuck, too, pulling against that rope all the time. Yeah, that was just a decoy before. He's gonna poop now. Bonehead. What now? Hey, come here. Doug. Over. Now. There's the toy. Get the toy. He can catch damn rabbits. He comes back with rabbits all the time. Come on. There's the toy. Come on. Good start. Come on. I don't know what this guy's doing over there. Doug! No! Doug, come! Hey! Doug, come here! House! Oh, funny. He, he likes to play with that toy too, but basically, if you tell him house, he goes to the house, but anything else, he's kind of sketchy. He's not going to bite anybody, but boy, this guy didn't know for sure what the hell he was going to do. I can tell you that. He was coming for the driveway he was going to come to the driveway to get the mailbox or the telephone junction box out here. Instead, he decided he was going to come in from the other direction. Ah. Yeah, anyways, deer have already polished off. There we go. One of these pumpkins already. I'll eat up that zucchini. We'll get nice and fat this winter. Stay fat. Eat a bunch of apples off our apple tree and plums or pears off our pear tree. Haven't seen any partridge in the pear tree. All right. Jesus Christ, somebody just went by dragging something out of the back of their pickup and they didn't even freaking realize it. God. People are idiots. Yeah, we got some water seeping through, so it's penetrating. Just gotta freeze real hard tonight, dang it. Wish it was a little colder right now. It's actually probably, what time is it? 3 o'clock, it gets the warmest around here. Oh, it's only 1:45. So that means it's gonna get a little warmer. Debating on whether I want it. Nah, yeah. Be a lot of walking back and forth. I've already walked plenty today. It's gonna make some activated charcoal. All right, so Shai says he's using jars and bags for something, and I see Lori's name here. I haven't been watching the chat, but I'm assuming he's talking drying and curing. And let me tell you, brother, I don't know any other way. I've tried. A buddy of mine gave me one of them bags to try out, and granted, those need to be specifically used. basically you have to do, I don't know. Seems like you're doing all the work with those anyways, and it's just a way to store your stuff in perfect conditions. So what's the difference? I use bags, boxes, and fucking jars and buckets. And let me tell you, dude, as long as you're there when you need to be, and if you've got somewhat of a controlled environment, you're gonna bang right on with that stuff, because that works for me, and I know the results you can get from that shit, and it's fucking amazing. So I don't know about the Canatrol or any of these other bud dryers or whatever you want to call them, but um, there is a matter of convenience, and maybe if you only got like 3 ounces, maybe you would be better off doing it. I don't know why you would, but in some kind of controlled environment, but or some kind of commercial type grow type thing. But me growing out in the environment, as long as when the temperature and humidity takes a big swing, I can adjust what I'm doing. If that makes any sense. But one of the keys to using buckets is also using bags at the same time. And this is in, like, I do a transition between dry and cure. It's not get it to dry and then put it into cure. It's get it dried a bit, mostly. Then you're in kind of a limbo state in bulk. And then you go into the smaller, more sealed vessel. But you want to put your material in a paper bag, then inside the bucket. You can do 3 or 4 bags, whatever. But the key to doing that is swapping out that paper bag then, or your cardboard box, whatever. That vessel then will be saturated with water. And in order to get your buds to crisp up at the end, instead of staying kind of mildewy, freaking whatever, is that adding that dry paper bag in there, because then it sucks out that little bit of water. But that's also a good way to keep your material moisture too. If you're opening and closing the jar all the time, you're if I'm using a bucket, I have it in that bag. That way the residual freaking moisture that's in that container is still going to be in that container when I open up the freaking lid. Okay, you guys get that? And then when I close it again, that moisture that's sitting around the buds are still going to be there. So the buds are going to stay the same moisture. You're going to remove your whatever. Seems to work for me, for the most part. Just kind of what I've developed, I guess. And it's not that I can explain it all at one time. And it's not that I am the only motherfucker that is doing this. This is almost universal. Okay. Any of this commercial product stuff is just something that somebody came up with an idea that they can make money off of, and I don't blame them for it. If kudos for them to be able to freaking find the resources to get something freaking made and shit like that. That's what I gotta say. In our economy, and like right now, isn't the time you want to be starting anything that you want to see go worldwide. That's actually, that's kind of why I'm putting the gadget on the back burner. Other than I'm having a good time freaking growing these plants. It just doesn't pay to try and ship stuff around the world. And then by the time, if you were to start doing something now and then, try and progress slowly, by that time everybody's copied it and or copied it close enough to where they're making it themselves and you're getting shot in the ass. So it doesn't matter to me so much. Um, Actually, it would be more work to have the a business of producing a trainer of your own. It would also suck to invest all that time and money and effort and then just have it copied because it will easily be copied. My plan is to flood the friggin' market, find somebody or eventually come up with the capital fucking somehow to start it. And I might just start out by getting a freaking 3D printer and print a 10,000 of the motherfuckers and just sit on them. Like I said, my my lifestyle or whatever, I do have a regular job, right? I work 4 days a week, as many hours I can put in. Um, and then I do this property maintenance. Basically, that's what my other job is too, for the most part, is property maintenance. It's a commercial property and it has a strip mall on it, and I do the maintenance there, and I also run a gas station and liquor store on the weekends, or in the evenings and weekends. So the weekend shift is mine, um, along with the people that you know run or do the cashiering and stuff. Along with cashiering, I do some of that too. It's basically, keeping touch ups on the paint and freaking making sure coolers are freaking clean, and any damaged equipment is fixed, and things are monitored, man. Like this one sprayer on our freaking car wash, if it's on the ground, it's an undercarriage sprayer. If it gets freaking run over, it gets twisted a little bit, and then the next 14 cars come out there freaking dirty on one side. Um, and then by the time anybody notices, then 14 cars have gotten freaking half a car wash, or about a quarter of a car wash. Uh, but basically, my room and board, as long as I don't cause any problems around here, is set. So, I can do whatever it is I freaking have time to do. I don't know where I was going with that originally, but it had something to do with not having to pay rent so much. Uh, Whatever. It is nice to have all this space. I know a lot of people don't. A lot of people do. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people have thousands and thousands of acres around them. I have, roughly 1,000 acres around me. Oh, I remember we were going with why I'm not really in that hurry to get a gadget going. I don't have to. I'm not looking at that to fucking make money to support myself with, right? I want this to be money that I can give to family and make sure they're comfortable. Um, in a main way, I want to get a place, something going on for the community, okay? Reinvest that in the community. So, it doesn't make any sense to me to just kind of like limp through this. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to freaking lose all the time I have to do all this stuff. But if I start up the freaking gadget company myself, whatever, it's going to take time. I don't take away from what I'm doing. I enjoy everything I do right now. But it would be nice to be able to say, okay, this kind of generates its own kind of thing. And what can we do, good with it? I don't have any offspring. Okay. So, This is going to go somewhere. If it even goes anywhere. Like I said, I'm not in a hurry. You guys can see, look at the way that golden goat was trained out. And I don't have time to do this. I put my gadget on the plants and then move it around every once in a while. I'm on the 3rd or 4th generation of it, and I think it's pretty much perfect now. 2 different sizes it would be, and then possibly a 3rd different size, but that's depending on how plants are growing. Mine were 13 feet wide, and the branches on them were so huge. This is also, they don't stress out your plants like a lot of other ones do, or like any of the branch bending or whatever, without getting too deep into it. So basically, you get constant growth. Up to this point, I have topped the plants, and I probably will still, because I'm not going to go full on into anything at one time with everything. So I'm going to use my trainer to train the top, the apical dominant cola, from seedling, and I think they normally train them to the north when they try and run them flat out, or run them flat, but I'm going to train mine to the south because that's what direction the sun is coming from, and that's what direction the mound that I have that I grow on is facing in my spot. So I'll be able to walk, along with the plant growing out straight out. I don't know. If you see my spot, you see there's a berm. I can walk next to the berm. I want it to be coming out right out in front of me from the berm. The predominant wind is also in that direction. So if we get a super amount of wind, the branches more or less lay down more, then they will snap off. We are in eastern central Minnesota. USA. We get all 4 seasons around here. My plants go out as seedlings or very recently rooted clones. Usually in the last week or so of May. During that time, those clones or any plants that may be mature may want to try and flower. So what I use are those solar powered LED little path lights. They come on a stick that's freaking like a foot tall. Then I'll stick that in next to the plants, 2 or 3 of them, and they'll come on at night and keep enough light to keep those plants from flipping into flower. And then they'll grow till the earliest one I ever cut down was like the middle of September. And the latest was this year, right around the 14th of October, I think. And then right away we got into shitty weather. With the weather that I have to deal with, I try to get them down before October. So, I try and look for a faster flowering, more indica, I guess, if you'd say, but whatever. A faster flowering of anything. I'm going to try some autos this year. I did try a couple last year. They went well, but they weren't the greatest of genetics. And that's just not coming from me. I had somebody else that grows autos that has had plenty of luck in the past also not have any luck with these. They grew, but they didn't have any freaking fire to them, so it wasn't okay, I know how to grow photos, but now I'm going to grow an auto and expect the same result. I didn't expect the same result. I knew I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I've learned a bit since about the feeding schedules, and I also learned a little bit more about my organic, um, natural type feedings, food that I'm giving my plants now. So by trial and error only, really. I mean, I look up the basic premise on, I discover it on YouTube, and then I'll try and implement it. So far, everything's worked out pretty well. Fermented plant juices do really well. Activated, or the activated aerated compost teas. I love those. I do pretty big batches. I love the castings, Nightcrawler castings. The biochar. I used a little bit of guano this year because there was some on sale at a place I went to. Blood meal, bone meal. There was some orchid bloom, which when you look at the label, the NPK doesn't describe what actually in the back of my mind you're looking at. I'm not looking at the NPK in that stuff, although look at the actual availability of the NPK when you're looking at these numbers, because some of it is going to be a slow release over time and not what you're thinking you're feeding them right now. The orchid bloom has the I don't know if you call them the funguses or whatever, but the more it has more life. You're looking at the stuff that is alive in that kind of stuff rather than the NPK of it. They put the NPK on it, I think, because they have to, right? They have to tell you the discovered amount of nutrients in that mix to be able to sell it to you, because then they're giving you a regimen. They're saying taking a tablespoon of this here gives you this, and then you feed that to your plants. If they didn't, and you were feeding that to your plants, you wouldn't know if you're giving them one fucking 547 or 1912.99 or what. Those are just random numbers which don't make any fucking sense, but some of you get my points. Anyways, hoofda. Gonna make up some freaking dinner here in a little bit. I was thinking about doing, check this out. So I grow in the ground predominantly, but sometimes I'll grow in pots, put those and bury them part of the way in the ground to keep the nutrients kind of in that area of the root zone that I want them in. But when I was thinking about doing these autos, rather than put them in the ground, I was thinking about using these, and then they would have plenty of area for the roots, even these shorter ones, but definitely that long one, to get them to grow better. I don't want them to, from what I have understand, they can flower if they hit the side or bottoms of their pots. So I don't want that. It's going to be some of my fertilizer here, and also what inoculates my biochar. Inoculates the activated charcoal. Here's a slide. looking pretty smooth. That's why you got to have one of these shovels, folks. If you weren't listening to me earlier, one of those shovels, it's a aluminum grain shovel. Get them at your local food store or feed store, I guess, if you have one these days. I'm surprised we still have ours. Oh, hey. Let's see. Oop, it's not completely frozen. Be careful. I'm gonna have to pack some snow down in there. Oh. That's one thing nice about the snow too, though. One thing, it does melt, but oops, forgot my pop. You can mold it by just grabbing some other snow and smear it around, or get it wet, or pack it down. All right. Anyways, I appreciate everybody that hung out today. I'm starving. I'm gonna go make some food. It's starting to get a little cold. Do one more ripper here, quick. All right. So I am gonna try and set up the camera for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So if anybody wants to see, if anybody makes it down the slide, I'm sure they'll make it down the slide, I guess, but see if anybody decides they want to use it. I don't know if they're going to be bringing over snowboards or what. I got sleds. And then we'll see what happens. Maybe it'll still be around for New Year's. I know we're supposed to get some warm weather. We're also supposed to get some cold weather, so. All right. Once again, my probably frozen. Got to give it a second. Let's see. Boy, this pin pad's so frozen. All right. Oops, now I got a stupid thing coming up here. What the hell is this all about? Get rid of it. Lori, your brother hung up on you? Man, I guess I know how that goes, though. With four siblings, you don't always get along all the time. Nowadays, I don't even see most of them for the most part until Christmas. Maybe once or twice, but working the evenings and weekends, when they do stop by, I'm not usually around. Or when there's like a birthday party or whatever. Cav Snake, oh brother, how the hell's it going? Gonna get you a wrench here. Boom. Everybody can keep track of this chat for me. I appreciate everybody hanging out. Let's see if we got warmed up here yet. Oh, hey, there we go. Take my left-handed bong here. Cheers, folks. Yeah. Thanks everybody for watching. And if you're 45 or older, talk to your doctor. Schedule a colonoscopy. Appreciate everybody checking this out. Is that wow. I see the doctors in the house. There he is. We're gonna get Doc modded up here too. Right on. Thanks everybody. Love y'all. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. We'll see you. Peace.